Hello viewers, welcome to our channel Tech Hybros Software Solutions. My name is Santosh and today we are going to discuss about basics of arrays. So as we can see, an array is a collection of similar data elements, which means the data that we will store in the array will be of the same types, all the data. Okay, so here there is a definition. An array is a dynamically created object that serves as a container, which will act as a container to hold constant number of values which are of the same type. So whatever the values that will be stored in that array object will be of the same type. Okay, by declaring an array, memory space is allocated for values of a particular type. So for example, if we are storing integer type of data in the array, so that kind of memory to access each and every to access each the next element, it will calculate the size for a particular type and it will fetch the next value in Java. Okay, so that is what the memory space it means here. And an array element that is also an array is known as subarray. Okay, so let's begin with the declaration part in the beginning. Here, as you can see, declaration, the syntax for declaring an array. We will specify the data type. We will specify the data type, the type of data, the data which we want to store in that particular array object. Okay, so the syntax for that is data type and the name of the variable which will actually hold the address of that object. And this is the syntax to declare an array, as you know. And new keyword is actually a keyword which will actually create object in the runtime. Dynamic memory allocation operator. It will act as a dynamic memory allocation operator. And this is the type of array that we want to create as an object. So we will specify the size at the declaration part itself, so that the size of that array will be fixed. That is the only drawback which will be overcome in the collections. And so let's begin. As you can see here, I have created one normal class with the main method. So declaring. Okay, so as you know, the syntax for declaration is the data type and the variable name. We can say whatever the variable name for a object will be known as a reference variable name. Okay, so let's start with the declaration of the array. So for example, let me consider a variable of type int, object of type int, integer kind of data I want to store in the array. So int. Okay, and a variable name for that array 1. Okay, syntax of array should be enclosed with should be declared with the brackets. So new int of size, let me take 5. Okay, so the size of the array in memory, let me show how it will be acting. If this line will be executed, then an object of empty size, empty memory will be created. This is the object. Okay, so and variable, what is the name of our variable? That is array 1. Array 1 is the name of the variable. So this is the variable array 1. Okay, okay, it will be holding the address of, for example, let us consider a value, address value for this object. The address is actually 100. Okay, and this is the data that will be held by Okay, this data will be held by this variable and it will actually map to this object. Okay, so here, as you know, we have declared a size of 5. So in array, the index will by default start with the begins with the 0 and ends with whatever the size is there minus 1. So as you you can map it. So if it starts with the 0, then 0 will be acting as it will be the first number, and then the ending number is the 4. So size minus 1. Okay, let's create an array inside this object. Consider it as an array, a list of means a similar type of data, which the data type is actually integer. Okay, and let's create 5 boxes here. Okay. 3, 4, and let's truncate the last one. Okay, so we are having an array of 5 empty this one box. Okay, this is an array. And we were storing it by default. The default value, the default variable, the default data will be stored in that type. Okay, so 0 0 0 0. So this is the way how actually in array declaration the values are being created, and so there will be an index also. All the array elements are accessed by index. So 0, 1, 2, 3 and 4 is the index value of those data to fetch for the fetching. So this is the index and these are the elements. By default it will be having 0. So whatever the type of data variable that we are declaring, the default value of that kind of variable will be assigned in the declaration time. So if you want to access, or if you want to use this, if you want to assign any new value, then we will actually use assignment operator. So this is the syntax for assigning any value to particular index. Okay, so let's begin with that. Okay, yes, as we are seeing, the syntax for declaring for assignment or inserting any value in the array is the variable name, the reference variable name. Okay, the reference variable name, and thus the reference variable name and the size, the address, the index number. Okay, so let's begin. In the very beginning, the variable name is array1. Okay, so 0 is the initial, the very first index. Let's assign a value that is 10. Okay, and let me copy the line second index, and this is the third index, and this is the fourth, this is the fifth. So 1 2 3 5. 5 is the size of the index, the array object. 20, 30 and 40 and 50. Okay, so if I run this, let me show in the debug mode. It's loading. Okay, so yeah, let me save it first. Okay, so we are good to go now. Debug is this application. Oh sorry, let me pin a point. It's too busy, the system is too busy. Okay, so okay, let's step over. You can see the object has been created, okay, and it will be assigned with a default value, and you can see the default value for this line has been created. So we have executed this line now. Okay, so an object of array has been created in the memory, and it is of type int, and the default value for the int type of value is 0, and see this is the value for this index. Okay, this is an object of array, and it is holding 5 integer type of data. Okay, integer type of data in memory, which are of the default value for them are 0 because we didn't assign any value to them. And let's assign a first value to the very first index of that array object. If I step over again, then a value will be assigned in the 0th index of that array object. Okay, and in the same way, each and every, as I wrote here, assignment operator, you can see in the memory, and in the final, the array is been created with these values, with these 5 values in the appropriate indexes, or in this location, you can say. And here this is the combination of declaration and assignment. So we can now edit the value that we have stored in the data in the array. Okay, so here we got the new data, the new elements. Okay, if we do the resize, then it will be okay, fine. So this is the new data that we can see now, and okay, this is actually a declaration and assignment. And now let's start with the initialization. Okay, let me close this debug mode now. and okay, fine. So oh sorry, these things were supposed to be here. Okay, the syntax for initialization of the array is this: the data type and the variable name, same as the left part of the declaration, and in the right side we will not use any object creation of that array. We will directly assign the values to that array object, this what is the variable. Okay, so I will I will explain the difference between this and this one. Okay, so in the very first we actually declared the array. Okay, if we declare the array by using this syntax, then an array will be created with the empty object. Okay, with the empty object, it will not have any provided data. It will be assigned as a default. It will be assigned with the default value of the type of the data that we want to store. But after again, if we want to store any data, then we have to assign it using manual. Assign it after creation of object. It is not at the time of creation of object. It is after creation of creation of the object. That is different. And here, at the time of creation of object itself, it will not hold any default value. It will hold the value that we will provide it while the creation of the object, and the size of the object will be assumed by the number of data, that by the number of values or the elements that we provide in the right side. So let's try with one example. Let me comment this out. Okay, let's start with the initialization. The syntax is the data type and the variable name for that object. Okay, and in the right side we should assign the values. We should provide the values. Okay, let's start with the variable, the data type of kind integer. Okay, so integer array2. Let's take array2 as a variable, and here we should actually provide the values. Okay, let's take 100, 200, 300, 400 and 500. Okay, so here as you can see, I have created a array object. It is not actually, this is actually the variable. It is not an array object, but it will map to the object which will be holding these values, and that object will be of type array. Okay, which will be holding the integer values. It will not hold other than this type. Okay, so let me start with this in the debug mode. I saved it. Okay, okay, so it points to the main method, and if we step over now, then it will create the array object. Okay, so the array object has been created, and it didn't hold any default value. It actually holds the data that we have provided it at the creation of object itself. So the major difference between the declaration and the assignment part is actually the declaration and assignment both together act as one. Declaring is just creation, and assignment is injecting the values in that object after creation of the object. Okay, but this initialization doesn't act like that. It is actually, it will act as both in declaration and assignment at the same time. The creation of the object and the injection of the values to that object will be done at the same time. That is what initialization means. So as we have understood the difference between the declaration and assigning the data to the object, and initialization. Let's retrieve those data from that array object. Okay, so for accessing the elements from an array, we can directly provide the index value. So let's start accessing the elements. System.out.println. Okay, this is the method which will actually display, println is the method which will actually display the data or the variable data on the console screen. And let's display the 0th index. So this method will actually the variable name is array of 2. It's busy again. Okay, array 2. Okay, so it will display the data, the element which is stored in the 0th index in that array object. So if you want to display all the elements, we can write this single line by providing the indexes 5 times. 0, 1, 2, 3 and 4. Okay, it will display the all elements that are present in that array. And if you want to apply by using loops, before starting that, I want to say there is one attribute which is called as length, which can be applied to arrays. Okay, the length attribute, okay, let me show you. Consider create a variable for holding the indexes. Okay, and here we can say the ending of the index. What is the last index value? That is the size minus 1. So we can actually use less than till that one. Here we can write array2 dot length. So this will actually, this length, it will return the particular variable's capacity. We can say the size. It will return the size of that array variable, and we are starting from 0 till that that size, less than that size. Okay, it will hold till 4. It will not reach to the 5 because it's less than. The condition will apply minus, means the period to the previous value, and it will terminate the loop. And I plus plus is actually for to show that after the execution of this block, first block, this operator will actually executed, this I plus plus, which means after execution of the for loops block, the I will be get incremented by 1, and we can specify I here, and I will show you this one by debugging. Okay, so let's clear out the console, and okay, it's fine. Let's debug the code. Demo array. Okay, wait, sorry. Okay, it's pinned. So the main method is get called. Okay, and I will step it over, and the array object with the elements that we have provided are being created and are being stored in that object in the time of creation of that array object itself. And here is the loop. Okay, so F6 is the shortcut key to make this step over. So the first part of the for loop has been executed. It has been an I variable is created with 0 as the first value, and next the condition is satisfied, and after displaying this one, the value of the I has been incremented by 1. We can see it was 0 and now it is 1, and this line is been displayed and they executed. Okay, so this is how actually the elements of an array object can be accessed, can be retrieved from the memory. And as we have saw how to retrieve the element from the array object by using for loop, and now let's try by using for each loop. Okay, so let me comment this out, and the shortcut to comment multiple lines is Control Shift and forward slash. Okay, so there are and okay, so let us try by using for each loop. The syntax for each loop is very simple and very straightforward too, and the main purpose to use this is in the collection frameworks, to iterating all the objects of different types, and also in array also we can use it. And let me show you the syntax. So we will declare a variable, okay, common variable, which will be acting as a index, or at the here actually it will not act as an index as we have done here. Okay, so it will act as one variable which will hold one value from the one element from this array object, and it will traverse from this variable name. Okay, I have copied it and pasted it. Okay, this is the syntax. Okay, sorry, it's not semicolon here, it's a colon. Okay, the syntax for each loop is this one, and inside we can traverse it by the variable I. Okay, sorry, it's not this one, it's actually I. Okay, and let me debug this one. Okay, let's start debugging. So the main method is been called, and if we step over, the array object is been created with these elements in the memory, and step over. Okay, initially for first iterate, the first value is been stored in the I, and I will be displayed after execution of this line. So this is the println method has displayed the first value from this array object. Okay, so similarly all the values from beginning, from the starting index to the end, it will display one by one in the console. This is how for each loop works. Thank you for watching our video, and we hope that the explanation on the basics of the arrays and the major difference between declaration, assignment and initialization on the array object has cleared all your doubts. And if there are any queries or doubts regarding the concept, you can post a comment down below, and please do a like to our video, and share to your friends, and hit the subscribe button, and also click on the bell icon to get the latest updates.